another edition of the Semi-Pro Gridiron Rant. Kendall Anderson on the other side of the screen. What's up, brother? How are you doing?
I am living the dream, baby. We are on episode 4. Can you see the split screen?
Episode 4. I have to see myself and you at the same time.
There you go.
That whole Zoom thing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm excited. Episode 4, man. We've it brought back a lot of good memories. I reached out, contacted some old contacts. We're actually, believe this or not, we're booked right through the end of September already. So
I told you last week, I said, you just settle down, will you? Just take a deep breath for 5 seconds. And it's so funny because I talked to my man Chico and I told him we were doing this. And I said, dude, I told him, I was like, dude, Kenny's going off the deep end already, man. He's like, do you expect anything differently? I guess I shouldn't. Right?
So I guess, you and Chico worked with me along with Melissa as far as, the board was concerned for the shock. So for those of you listening, guys, when I get something in my head, it is blinders on, dialed up. I just want to make sure we got things lined up. So we're good for the next 3 months. We're booked through the end of September. So we got a lot of interesting stories coming. We got multiple people that's written books. We've got a movie in the works. We've got a guy trying to earn his pro bodybuilding card. He'll be on today. We've got a guy that's opened another gym. We got a lot of stuff going on.
We are not doing a movie. You have somebody that's actually making.
Yeah,
a movie.
We're not doing a movie. But if there are any producers out there, I happen to know one down here too. Maybe I can convince her to put a show together. But
what are you going to do in a movie? I couldn't even imagine.
Come on, with this gray hair, baby. This good.
That you almost have the Dallas Cowboys silver going on.
That's right. I'll put like a blue stripe in the back here, my little bald spot, and we'll call it even.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
But it's been a good week, man. It's been a good week. How about yourself?
Just I'll be totally honest with you. Obviously, there's a lot of redonkulous things happening in the world today, and
true that.
This is not the platform for either of us to want to talk about that. I don't. I know you don't.
For sure.
But just trying to limit my social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Limit that kind of stuff because I could feel it affecting me. I don't know if it affects you and that kind of thing, but so yeah, I try to limit as much as I can being on.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, what I've done is it affects me not like I don't get super high or super low,
right?
But it's the point where I get annoyed because
yes.
I have a lot of acquaintances. They call them friends on Facebook, but I call them acquaintances. I've got like 1,200 acquaintances. Now,
watch out now.
Yeah. Now, listen, I've been in the car business for a long time, and I've worked in multiple cities and states. I've been in football a long time, worked in multiple cities and states, and I grew up in a small town that everybody knew everybody. So with that being said, I got a lot of acquaintances on there. So you get a lot of points of view.
Right.
And it's difficult. So what I found, I think best for me to keep my sanity is I limit myself. I think last week, the only time I really went on there is when we went public with this station here, with our channel. Yeah. And then I try to say happy birthday to whichever one that shows up. And then I'm usually off, so I'm not hanging out on it. Because I don't have a place to stand. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's hard to explain, but let me just say this. We're not going to talk a lot about this because we're not in a position to do this, but from what Patrick Mahomes' quote was, basically saying the world needs to be more like athletic locker rooms. I am 10,000. I am 10,000% on board with Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
I agree. So with that I think I'm lucky. I grew up in a small town. There was growing up, yes, we were mostly white, but I don't think, in my eyes, there was never racism in my town. I never saw it. I never heard it. I never experienced it. And then I got lucky enough I went to Buffalo, played a year at Canisius. Then I ended up immediately going to the Syracuse Express. So I've been in around so many other cultures. And plus I've worked in major cities. So I'm not oblivious to it. I know what's going on and I see what goes on. And, I have empathy for what's going on, but I don't have the authority to speak on.
Right.
Is the way I look.
Yeah. But no, I think we all agree with Patrick Mahomes. A locker room in sports is where the world should be.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So we'll leave it at that.
Yes,
That's
sir.
about all we're going to do on that.
Yes, sir.
As we as we move forward on what we got going on today.
Yeah, enough of that craziness. Let's talk about some other craziness.
Sports. What an amazing
the sports. The side effects of Corona. Okay, so we've got a few, the main three sports that are about to transpire or might transpire: NBA, MLB, and NFL. And ironically, all three are in different stages of where they stand in starting back. So as of yesterday, the NBA owners governing body, or I'm not quite sure what they call themselves, they had voted almost unanimously, 29-1, to have it.
Who was the one?
I think it was Portland, if I remember correctly. One,
maybe because they're the first away from Disney.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. Well, yeah, exactly. And as you said that, thank you. Because basically what the proposal, well, it's not even a proposal now, it's official. They voted on 22 teams. It's going to be like a 22 team playoff. So 22 teams starting July 31st they're basically quarantined to Orlando for 3 months. And it sounds like there aren't going to be any fans. So,
which is fine.
Yeah. So, good news. Hey, they're in Disney. Bad news is, buddy, I love you, but I ain't living with you for 3 months.
Dude, but how much shit
I would go crazy. That's what I'm saying.
But you know how it is. Like, there's a ton of place to live down there, so nobody's rooming or bunking.
Well, they're saying they're gonna quarantine them to a hotel, apparently. Like, so like suites or something.
Have a room? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But during the games, because I mean, for NASCAR and even UFC, you hear everything that's happening. So, and we both know there's an amount of shit talk that happens during a sporting event that is unlike anything that you probably ever went through in your life.
Oh, for sure.
So, can you imagine the shit talk in the NBA courts? That how do you limit to hear that? Because you're not going to want to mic the state. You're not going to want to mic the court.
Yeah. So listen, I played a few pickup games at the CYO and the YMCA, and the trash talk there is real. So I can't even imagine what happens when real athletes. I mean, I've heard football players go at it, but
we're a different breed. Of stupid.
And I was going to say the NBA has a little different caliber athlete.
Right.
And they have a little more specific skill set that they can brag. Yep. There's the haves and have-nots that are very apparent in basketball.
Yep.
So I'm sure there's some major shit talking that goes on right in the middle of dribbles and passes, no-look passes, and the dunking in somebody's face and the stuff that we can't normally hear because there's 30,000 people in the stands or whatever.
So they're technically going to finish up the 2019-2020 season, and that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And then they're going, and then we'll get basketball in October again.
Right, but there are only 22 teams, so there's 8 teams. They basically said, "Hey, you're out of it," so there's no sense in dragging you down there, putting you through it, and they've pretty much going to focus on the 22 teams that are still in it. Now, let's go over to the NFL. They've officially, as of today, Friday. What's today? The 5th, 6/5, 6/5/20.
6. Yes. No, it's the 5th. Yeah.
6th, 5th. I don't know. I forget what day it is. All these Corona days are the same. So they have officially allowed, depending on states' laws, right? States' rulings right now, allowing coaches and members of the coaching staff and athletic trainers to go to the facilities now. So
back to the facilities.
So today's Mike McCarthy's first day officially at the Star for us Cowboys fans. So. He hadn't been there since he signed his contract. So so they're back to action. And then we've got baseball. So baseball, at least as far as I can see, is in a piss and match. So there's billions of dollars that were made last year in baseball. And I think the last number I heard was like $11 billion they profited last year, which I would never guess that high with baseball. Football for sure, but that actually shocked me with baseball. So
it doesn't shock me.
Yeah, that's just a lot of money, man. Especially when you see all those empty stadiums. I just didn't think. Man, their TV contracts must be enormous.
I guess what you're talking TV, but you're also forgetting, and a lot of people do. You got single A, double A, triple A, and I think all of that plays into the amount of money that goes.
Good point. I mean? Well, I just heard real quick before we started recording. They had mentioned that there's like 1,000 players in the minor leagues that are out of a job. So they,
Yeah,
they
they're not
cut a
play.
bunch of minor league teams. So.
Which, quite frankly, they probably could have already started playing because, I mean, if you're talking like minor leagues here, you can socially distance fans with no problem.
Right.
25% of a stadium, that's fine. And let's be honest, like most of those guys, you put them around each other, you test them and all that stuff, and then you bring them to the ball. You probably could have played by now, but
right.
let's be totally
the one thing no one's talking about in sports is, let's be honest, we've all been confined to dirty, sweaty, stinky locker rooms together. I've been in sports for 30 something, played 30 something years between junior high, high school, college, semi-pro.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I never got sick.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know, but so baseball's in a pissing match. The owners want 114 games, obviously, because it brings more revenue, but they want to kind of screw the players over and do some kind of stair step with it. So that the guys that don't make a whole bunch of money, they're trying to protect the guys that don't make a whole bunch of money, but let's not get it twisted.
Right.
They also don't want to pay these dudes that are making, 30 million a year.
Oh,
they want to find a way to give them a haircut as fast as possible.
Yeah.
The players want 114. The owners hit them with 81. The players went to 114, and now the owners are playing fuck, and then apparently hit them with like 50 or 51. So whatever the amount of games the players wanted more of than the 81 is the same amount of games the owner said, we want to play this many. So they're still in the middle of the pissing match. Let's see. We said it's the first week of June. They're shooting to play July 1st. They better get their shit together because they're not.
It's not going to happen by July 1st.
You can't have pitchers out there throwing 100 miles an hour and without without a month of.
I'll tell you right now that I'll bet you the majority of the big time guys, they're still training. They probably never stopped.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of training went underground. I think we all know that. You know what I mean? Some gyms did open. Some gyms never closed. You know what I mean? They still allow people to come just on the DL. But I think less baseball is better. They never should have gone to 162 friggin' games. I mean, and I love baseball. Don't get me wrong, but it's just, why do you have to play so many games?
Right.
You don't. You know what I mean? Even in like 82 NBA games, right? Like it was 82 NHL too. I mean, do we need that much? Like
it's a great question.
Okay, we're gonna get a 17th game. You know what I mean? But it's 17 games. You know what I mean? You're playing 4 months and then you're done, basically.
Right.
So
right.
I don't know. I think that some of those, they need to really look at the amount of games they play throughout a season. And I get it's dollars and cents. Everything, money is what drives it all. You know what I mean? But
the problem is we're not we're not professional bookkeepers for any major sports at all. But I'm sure Fox and NBC and CBS and ABC and ESPN and you keep
they want the games.
They say, you want to go to 82 games? That's good. Okay. Yep. So that, that $20 billion contract, we're going to give you 8,
right.
And then what,
right.
So,
yeah.
So I'm with you though. I think, I love baseball. I mean, if there's one thing I tell my buddies, I'm like, man, I miss playing, even 30 some odd years later, I miss playing baseball. It was, I get it. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch the game 162 times. Even I'm a diehard Yankee fan, but listen, I'll DVR them and I will fast forward even the at bats, unless it's a cool one-on-one matchup, a pitcher against a particular hitter I want to see. I fast forward unless the Yankees are hitting.
Well, and when you're talking Yankees, the only teams that matter when they play is Boston.
Right.
Is a Subway Series.
Yep.
Maybe it's if they do play the Dodgers.
They ever cross over the Dodgers, right? Or the Cubbies or something like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, and there's other teams around the country. I'm sure the Rangers have the rivalries are all there. I don't pay too much attention to any of that stuff, but when you're talking Yankees Boston, and it's going to be primetime Sunday night, 8:00, you're watching that game. You're at least watching the beginning of the game. You may not get to the end of the game because it's probably going to be midnight by the time it's over.
Yeah, and they play like 17 games or something, or 19 games or whatever it is against each other a year. So it's just a battle.
And you'll watch them all.
It sucks for the Rangers. You'd mentioned the Rangers. They built a brand new stadium, bro.
Did they really?
Yeah, and they were supposed to start a month and a half ago. They got a brand new stadium that's never been used.
Well, 2021 looks like a good year.
Yeah, right. So so they're jonesing just to get in their brand new ballpark. So yeah, so that's where we're at in the world of sports, right? At least the major sports. As we know, race cars going on without, their NASCAR's going on without their fans in the stands. And
yeah,
so
looks like Indy's going to be getting some movement here soon. So we'll see some of those races.
Okay,
They'll keep on shoving UFC down our throats, but now the big time UFC guys are all bitching and they're not getting paid enough. Like they should have been talking about that a long time ago. Now they're they're waiting till now.
Right. You might see this turn again. We've talked in previous episodes about how COVID might change the landscape of sports. Not only the health side, but might change the sport in general. Who knows? Maybe contracts start getting linked to player contracts, start getting linked to revenue instead of just, hey, we're going to give you, because as an owner, and again, I wasn't a $1 billion owner, but if I have to pay for a stadium. What sucks is I've paid for a stadium and the game doesn't play because the other team doesn't show up. Yeah. I still got to pay the stadium. I still got to pay the ref. The ref fees are supposed to be paid by the visiting team, but sometimes it isn't. So, you got to take care of business. So I can feel for them. I know I feel for billionaires, right? Shame on me. But the reality is, I don't cringe when I hear part of Dak's contract is, oh, well, when the revenue goes up, we want a bigger piece of the pie. Mahomes is allegedly whispering that in his contract too. So I don't have a problem with that because it makes sense as long as that contract reads both sides of the coin. Because if next year this whole COVID thing crashes and the salary cap drops $50 million from the 200 or whatever it was proposed to be this year, and it goes to 150 next year.
You're not getting paid.
Yeah, you should say, listen, that was part of the deal. You get the ups, you get the lows. It's a game. I've been in sales my whole life, so maybe that's why it makes sense to me. When
and when you think about that, I know we got a guest coming up here in a minute, but when you think about that, how tough is that though? I mean, and then at that point, you maybe have a little more stock in the team. Maybe you don't see yourself. You don't see guys jump teams, you know what I mean? Like in the NBA, you see those guys making super teams and stuff like that, which that doesn't happen nearly as much in the NFL. I don't think that's ever happened really at all. But besides, everybody probably wants to play for the Buccaneers right now. Tom Brady, right?
You've had a few guys that wanted to switch teams. You've had a few guys that had to switch, like Emmett and Montana and stuff like that. But
it would be interesting to see what kind of dynasties you rebuild doing something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So listen, we what I'd like to do this call or this episode might be a little bit longer than the other ones because I still want to get back to 1993 and Lights Out, and I still want to hear your story too. So we need to break right now. We're gonna take a quick little break. Then we're gonna bring in our next guest. This is that dude I warned you about last week. He's a beast. So we're going to bring him in, and then after our interview with him, what we'll do is we'll stick around a little extra longer, and we'll go over 2 interesting stories. So stay with us.
Yeah.
Please tackle that subscription bar and also stiff arm the bell so you can be notified when our next video comes out.
All right, so we are back here, Semi-Pro Gridiron Rant. Kendall Anderson up in that little corner box there. Join us right now, Stephen Taylor. What's up, brother? How are you?
Doing good. Trying to make it through these gym shutdowns and restaurant shutdowns and trying to fire everything back up. And
yeah, how's it been? Have you been able to get any training in, man?
We went crazy and we built an entire gym in the basement. We just got in the Rogue squat / bench press rack, the Rogue bench. We have everything. We have a hip sled, hack squat machine.
Yeah, he sent me a picture last week of an old school hip sled. I was getting excited. One of those old where you could do it from the front, the side, the whole, from the bottom, the whole 9 yards.
So we have
good to go.
Whole commercial gym going on in the basement right now.
It's tough, man, because trying to find 45-pound plates is like an impossible mission. I would think everywhere in the country right now.
Oh, we jumped on it the day that everything shut down.
Yeah,
jumped on it right away, and we were still paying $2 a pound.
Yeah. Now it's funny. You look through Marketplace and any of those kind of things, and now people are trying to get like $4 a pound. I mean,
whoa!
They're selling like at least up here. They're selling junk benches like old school Weeder Golds benches.
My first bench.
For, like $1,600. I'm like, what? And I'm just like, oh my, what are you doing?
I had one of those when I was 12 years old. The old Joe Weider bench.
standard weight set.
That's right. I broke the little leg peg that you put the 45s on. About 13 years old, I smacked that right off. I was leg curling too much, so leg extension too much. So Stefan's kind of so last week, Stefan, we had on one of my previous quarterbacks. Hantke was his center. And the funny thing is, he was a lineman who got converted to quarterback. Now you're a quarterback who got converted to a lineman. So now we got the opposite to be true this week. So
how does that happen?
Well, you get huge.
Put on 70 pounds.
Yeah, there you go. Have you seen Stefan? Just for the ladies here, give him a little gun show real quick. Just a little one. Just a little.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he's got arms the size of most people's legs. So when I met him, he actually reached out to us on Facebook. He was new to Jacksonville, and he reached out to the team I was coaching at the time. I was actually kind of new there too. And then this freak show of a man shows up, and here he is. He looks like he belongs in a gym and not on a football field, which is what a lot of the NFL linemen look like these days. You look at Tyron Smith, he might be 6'5", 6'6", wherever he is, but he's chiseled for a left tackle. So
listen, they're all Tony Mandrich now.
Right.
Okay. They're all jacked like that.
But we have speed. You can actually move.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Exactly right. So Stefan, let's go back to the beginning here a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your college days as a quarterback. And then, where you went between college and then what brought you to Jacksonville and then, ultimately ending up on the Spartans for a couple of years and then the Raiders even.
Yeah, so I grew up in Iowa, and my junior year I was getting looked at by a lot of schools for quarterback, but Iowa wasn't calling. And the University of Wisconsin had reached out to me, and they said, we really like you. We want you to come play for us. And they did one of those things like, if you lived in Wisconsin, it'd be really easy to get you on the team. And so I had a best friend at the time who lived in Green Bay. So I finished my senior year up there playing quarterback and started the next year playing for Wisconsin. Such a night and day difference going from high school to a D1 school as far as preparation, video, working out. I mean, when you're playing at D1 college, they own your life. You're doing from the second you wake up to the second you go to bed, they have everything timed for you.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because I watch some of these guys who get in trouble, and I'm like, how do you have time for that? Like, how do you find time to get in trouble?
Make time for trouble, right? You have to make time for trouble.
I'm like, every second of my life was planned out. And after Game 7 that year, the D tackle who was coming around the corner and thought he was Mr. All-World wasn't the starter. I'm wearing my nice red jersey, don't hit me. He came around the corner, and the top of his face mask severed my patella tendon on my knee.
What?
And so I got to sit out the rest of the season. I was really moving up in the depth chart, was playing really, really well. I was looking at getting some playing time with Sorgi and I at that time. And that obviously, when you rip your patella tendon, kind of have to have that.
That was unfortunately prior to the modern medicine miracles we can see today, right? So that
right, where you can rehab it in 6 weeks and be back on the field.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What years were you at Wisconsin?
2001.
Okay.
So after you got injured in Wisconsin, ended your quarterback days, where'd you find yourself?
Then I went to St. Norbert College, and nice enough, Wisconsin actually paid for all 3 years that I went there.
Oh, wow.
Got to play there. We won 3 conference titles. Went and played against Whitewater in the playoffs. Lost against them. Played a lot of.
Did you play quarterback there?
Yeah, I played QB for all those years.
Okay.
Got to do the college combine, which was a lot of fun. So I got to go out to Indy and do all the practices and stuff with them. Got to interview with 2 different teams. I got to interview with the Jets and the Packers. Obviously, I didn't amount to anything. But, again, great experience.
Listen, you got a lot further than I did, or most people. So, I mean, just to even be considered to get an interview or go to the combine is, that's huge. And that's kind of what I'm finding is we had kind of one, or at least I had one idea in mind of how I wanted these podcasts to go. But what it's turning into is everyone's story, how we all got to semi-pro. And, so I like the fact that you can share. I was in an NFL facility for a little while, even if it was only an interview, because there's people like I coached a kid who had our running back got requested to go to the Redskins. So he went to the Redskins, and we've had a couple guys that played, they had a cup of coffee, so to speak. So, I'm finding that to be more cool. This is starting to turn into something completely different than I anticipated, which is great. We want this to be,
right.
Well, I think what a lot of people don't understand too is when you go to college and you play at college, then you play, whether it's NFL, whether it's arena, whatever it is. There's a different caliber of athlete that you play against than when you come back to semi-pro, and and then you just get the kid out of high school that couldn't make the grades, whatever, may have been a great athlete, but then you realize the work ethic action and the repetitions. Like in my head, I still step power, kick slide, you know what I mean? It's still in my head, and it will always be in my head, you know what I mean?
Well, for sure.
There's kids that will never experience that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You can definitely see the difference watching different people. And as a coach, it's tough to, I can't teach what Stefan knows. I can't teach some dude every other day, twice, two practices a week.
Yeah.
So you hope that guys like Stefan and yourself and Chris Bresnahan, last week's guest, filter into a team to where you have other level at the semi-pro level to help you get there. Because if you don't, I've coached a team that had none. When we were in Watertown, a startup team, we had very few, maybe a D3-2 person or so. And even though that person stood out more than, we had a kid that probably, had he not wrecked his shoulder, probably would have been in the NFL. He's 6'4", 245 pound, middle linebacker. Kid was a beast. But he got injured, so it unfortunately took him out. But you could tell he was a different, guys like Stefan and you and this guy was Mike Dumas. They have a different, they approach it because they've been there. You can just see it.
So Stefan, tell me how you go from the NFL end, and obviously how long did you keep that dream alive before you finally said, all right, this is done?
So after that, I shut it down for 7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Really focused on what my career is now, where I'm a general manager of a restaurant. So I was the youngest GM at my company at 26 years old. And I really, really, really focused on that. And I still was in shape, but I wasn't what shape I am in now or what shape I was in when I played with Coach Ken. So we moved to Florida, and I was starting to get back into shape and feeling good. And everyone's like, you should really see what you got. See if you can play like semi-pro and somebody will see you. Mm-hmm. So I looked around, and like Coach Ken said, I saw the Spartans, and I was like, hey guys, I can play quarterback. I can play tight end. And my size right now, at the time I was 275.
Chiseled, so 275, guys.
Could you imagine him playing quarterback at 275?
Dude, trust me, I wanted him to, but we just couldn't make it happen. We needed him up front because, we were just, no secret on semi-pro. The hardest position to fill is offensive line. Second hardest is defensive line. So when this mountain of a man shows up at 275 pounds and he's not fat, you're like, okay, well, I know you played quarterback, but would you pretty please try left tackle for us?
Well, it's funny because the first scrimmage that we played the X-Men, and they had me playing both ways, and I was playing nose, which is, again, a position I've never played. And I was literally taking the center and throwing him into the quarterback every play. I would just pick him up and throw him into the quarterback. So that was my first real game, though, playing with the Spartans. They had me at left tackle. And, again, it's a position I've never played. Like you said, you kick power, doing those things. That's not second nature to my brain.
Right.
That's not something I instantly think of. Now, after about halftime, I figured it out and really started locking down that left side. But again, you're going from a position that yes, I know the linebacker is going to flash on my right side if I open up too far left. I know those things as a quarterback, but to be in that spot and trust that guard next to me and know that DN's trying to widen me out to try to get that lane, those different things that you have to have a half a second thought process for. I didn't have those.
Right.
And about halftime, I started getting into it.
You could really see Stefan's maturation throughout the season where I don't want to say he was, well, okay, I'll say it. He was lost, but we knew, well, at least I knew. I can't say we, because I mean, I was the head coach. I knew that with reps, he'd get it because he knows the game. If you talk to him, he'll talk football to you, front and back. So it's, as he just explained right there, he sounds like a regular lineman, right? But he's a quarterback, for Christ's sake. He grew up playing quarterback.
Well, I mean, that's the same. Like I could sit back and wing the ball around when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know shit about taking a 3-step drop, you know what I mean? Or 5-step drop, you know what I mean?
But his maturation process was incredible. I mean, you could just see it almost every snap. He was getting better and better and better. And then it came times where I was like, dude, I need to run the ball in the 3-hole slide to guard. I need to run the ball, the 2-hole, move it over to right guard, So he was
moving me around.
Yeah, right in the middle of the game.
Right guard, left guard.
Yeah, move him over here, move him over there. Just because he
became. That's like a Cardinal. Did you not have other linemen? Like that's a Cardinal sin.
No, I know. But when you didn't have a choice, we had a ton of injuries. We had a lot of people that weren't, I mean, it's semi-pro, dude. They don't all show up, right? So basically our mainstay was our center, and we knew Stefan was going to be somewhere on the line, and I'd move around. Yeah, it's a sin because it's a giveaway, right?
So when you coached us, that was like you had it good because
I was living the dream with you guys.
6 solid guys, you know what I mean?
And you showed up most practices.
Yeah, you had it good with us.
Right. So we did all right there. But so Stefan came a long way. And then, through that year, I didn't know a lot of people down in Florida to begin with. So, but Stefan and I became kind of close because he reminded me of me. He asked a ton of football questions. Now, it didn't hurt that he had a restaurant that I happened to like to eat at. So I would go over to visit him, and he makes this thing where he took some shredded prime rib and he puts it over Fritos. Dude, heaven on earth. Put some barbecue sauce on top of that. No wonder I blew up to 280 when I was down there.
A little bit of mashed potato.
Dude, he was killer stuff. Then killer pecan pie, all that southern comfort stuff. So so after I left, another team opened up. Okay. So and then Stefan went on to James Craig. I always get him backwards. Craig James. James Craig played in the NFL. Craig James played D1 ball, but in some arena. But so he left. He was our defense coordinator. He left and started his own team, and then Stefan went to go play for him. So talk a little bit about that.
Again, it was a brand new team, and a lot of the guys from the Spartans went over there. So it was the season I got to play with them before I moved to Chicago, it was a very disjointed team. They just weren't, when you're playing the line, you got to trust the guys that are next to you. You have to believe that this guy's going to have your back and this guy's going to cover the area of responsibility that's his. And, I found myself playing left tackle to center and trying to block 4 guys. And it was a very rough season. I ended up making the all-star team and then the all-star team for that. Had a great time at that. That was a great experience because I got to play with guys who actually know what they're doing. And had a really fun game. Got to play some D-tackle doing that too, which is my semi-pro wise is my favorite story. The D-tackle on the all-star team just wasn't hacking it. So Craig's like, Stefan, get in there and show him how to play D-tackle. So I sit center in the guard, and I literally grabbed the fullback and threw him to the left and body slammed the running back. And the fullback comes back. He's like, Jesus, you're strong. And I was like, I'm done. I'm going to need another compliment for the rest of the season. No one needs to tell me good job.
That was it.
I'm like, I am good.
There you go. Now, one of the problems with Jacksonville, so just a little break. So Jacksonville is known as the largest city in America. For those of you out there who don't know this, by landmass.
Yes.
It's huge. Now, Hantke, for you, it would be like you driving from your home to my house is all Jacksonville.
Really?
Yeah, it's almost an hour from north to south.
Okay.
Dude, it's huge, right? So it's a huge landmass. So with that being said, there's got to be, I've lost count, there's got to be between 7 and 10 teams in Jacksonville.
At least.
Just in Jacksonville?
Just in Jacksonville.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, they play all year round too, right? So like I said, I coached in a spring league. They have summer league, so they play football all year round, but there's a ton of teams down there. So a lot of the linemen especially are worn thin. Now there's a couple teams that have been around a lot longer. So they've got a little more linemen that are entrenched with the program. So they stick around. But so when Stefan's talking about, having to work with he found a team that, because Craig had been around. He's from the area. He played a little arena ball. So he's been around, knows a lot of players. So he was able to bring other players in. So after you moved to Chicago, get back to working. You find a gym, right? You find a sponsor. You and I, when I was up there for work, you and I talked. You got a sponsor. Now they do not sponsor this program. This is a free push. I've learned over the years, or over watching my YouTubes, that you have to mention that they either are or are not a free sponsor. So it's Blackstone.
You watch too many YouTube videos.
I do watch a lot of YouTube. So it's Blackstone
Yeah.
Lab. I just got this cute little shirt the other day. Yeah, I said cute. That's right. Okay, says make bodybuilding great again. That's right. Red, white, and blue. Yeah. So, and I just ordered some more supplements from there. Love their supplements. Stefan, by the way,
look at you going in right now.
Yeah, he's also training me. So he's virtually training me. So folks, what I'm going to do is, if you want any virtual training from Stefan, him and I have talked. We're going to put together a way to get a hold of him. Stefan, give out your email for the folks, would you?
So it's Stefan RL2169@gmail.com.
So if you have any questions about working out, if you want to get on a diet, he put me on a nice little diet, and honestly, I'm eating all day long, and I'm not hungry, and he's got me under control, and I'm already seeing progress in just 2 weeks. So he's doing a great job with that. So that's my little plug for him there. Now tell us a little bit how, other than the obvious fact that you're just a mountain of a man, tell us how you got into saying, all right, that's it. I'm going after my pro card in bodybuilding. Tell us why.
I've always had, and as we talked about earlier, I've had a dream of being a pro athlete. And, the NFL didn't work out. I'm 38 years old now. And I've always had a very good shape. And so the guy that's my coach now, I was at the gym working out, and he's like, you ever done bodybuilding? And I was like, I did a show before I had kids, and I placed 5th. I was like 218 on stage. It wasn't great. I starved myself to death almost. And he's like, give me one season with you. And so we started putting in the work and really grinding in the gym and trying to go for this goal. And I did a show October, and I was 233 on stage, 4% body fat. And my first real show took 2nd place. So
It's awesome.
I was like, okay, there might be something here. I might actually have a chance. And if the guy who did win wouldn't have been there, I would have won the show. So that guy's been doing it for 10 years. He's won 3 other different big shows. So this really wasn't the show he should have been at, but that's fine.
Yep.
You can't decide who shows up to the show and who doesn't.
Right.
So now we're taking a 2-year hiatus. So I'm back on stage at 255.
That's your goal? Put on 22 pounds of muscle?
Yes.
Nice.
And then
So your off season sitting at about 290, 300?
Right now I'm 275, but that's because we just opened the restaurant back up, and I'm now walking 18,000 steps a day. So I dropped 9 pounds in 4 days.
Ouch.
I believe it.
So my coach changed my food diet extremely, but yeah, the goal is to get to 315. 315 with a 39 to 40 inch waist.
Yeah, that's a tough choice to go from playing football to bodybuilding. Bodybuilding's a tough sport. I mean, for the years I trained here, my best friend Blair is a pro, and I trained with Jeremy Freeman here for a couple of years, and he's retired. But dude, I don't know how you make the choice from being here I am playing football to, and the pounding is almost about the same when you talk about, how much work you're putting in the gym, and for me doing strongman, there's times I'm like, I can't train like a strongman all the time. I still have to train like a bodybuilder because I just can't handle,
your joints give out. I just had a revive week last week where the start of last week, I called my coach. I'm like, bro, I am so physically tired and hurt. I'm like, so we were doing bench and it happened to be max week. And I had 500 on there and I'm going down nice and slow. And I go to press it back up and I'm like, I got the weight. The weight's fine. But that left pec is super, super angry right now.
Yep.
And I'm like, I need a week for my body to drink 2 gallons of water a day and let my body reheal so we can get back at it. And this week's been great. I felt fantastic. I mean, we did deadlifts yesterday and felt awesome. So we're
who are you training with out there? You're in Chicago, right?
Yeah, I'm with Joe Rubino.
Obviously you're training at home right now, but what gym does he have out
Export.
there?
Number one, feel free to plug your restaurant real quick. So if anyone in Chicago is listening, they can come visit you.
Granite City Food and Brewery. Open patios, open rocking.
Oh, open patio. There we go, baby. I wish I was around. I'd be up there. I'd be up there hanging out, eat some good eats, and have you make me that Frito dish. We'll find a way.
280 again.
He's got me down to 240. So and we're going. So he's doing a great job. He's got me remotivated into obviously doing it virtually. The motivation's 95% mine. But anytime I reach out to him and I have a question, he's right there to answer. So he's a great dude. Listen, I hate to cut this short. I know you're busy. This dude works 12-hour days, and he's an amazing father. He's a great husband. He's a good dude.
Appreciate it.
Was close with his family when I was down there. They took me in, and we spent a lot of time together. They're really good peeps. He's found a way to have a great family and chase his dreams, and both in the gym and professionally. So I appreciate you coming on with us. I miss the hell out of you, big man. Next time I'm in town.
Too,
last time I was in town for work, he came and paid me a visit. So next time I'm in town, I'll definitely look you up again, and we'll have you on in the future again too. All right, buddy?
Oh, for sure. I had a great time.
All right, my man. I appreciate your time. All right. Good luck to you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
See you, buddy.
See you, brother.
Sweet. Well, that's another guy that I'm have history with. And of course, most of these are going to be people I have history with to start with until, this podcast takes off. And then again, we want anybody out there to, that in Semi-Pro Ball to reach out. We want to hear your stories because we know there's a lot of amazing people out there, which I kind of went off on a little tangent with Stefan about is this podcast going in a direction of, I love what people are doing after football, not only what brought them to football. I love hearing that story, but I'm loving to hear the successes that are going on now after football. So it's great talking with him. Dude, he's really a hard worker. I'm telling you, that dude works 12, 15-hour days, then finds a way to work out 2 or 3 hours a day. And then spends a ton of time with his family. It's ridiculous. I don't know how he sleeps, dude. So again, I appreciate him coming on here. And, I look forward to, next week's meeting as well, or next week's. I keep calling them meetings because, my previous career was always meetings on these things. So you know what I'm talking about?
Sure. I don't know. I don't Zoom outside of this is boring.
There you go.
But it was cool to have him on. You know what I mean? Just a different path everybody's got a different path, right? And after you get done, the one thing I have noticed, a lot of guys though, they're either going this way after semi-pro or that way, and you know what I mean? And nobody stays the same, right? So, and you hope the guys that are going down are trying to come back up at some point too. But there's a lot of guys that end up in the fitness industry. It's interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So as we go into to wrap up today, and we were supposed to start with this, but we're going to end with this because that's kind of how we always do things ass backwards.
That's right.
But I'm going to let you start, and I'll finish because mine's. Well, I got like 4 or 5 of them, but I'm going to take one of them pretty easily.
Okay.
So we said last week that in semi-pro, no matter what, doesn't matter where you are. Listen, it's a tough game. You're playing semi-pro for a reason. The guys are probably a little bit more edgy than guys that are getting paid big money to play football, right? So,
yes, sir.
and there's always a lot of trash talk. The shit talk is usually pretty epic. And there's always going to be a fight. At any point in time in your career, there's been a fight, right?
There's been more than one.
Well, more than one, right? But give me your one that just you're like, I can't believe that shit happened.
So the one that's unbelievable is actually from my rookie year, which is what you asked me about last week, was memorable from my rookie year. So 1993, Syracuse Express.
You got notes? You got notes down.
No, I had a warning. We got 10 minutes left.
Okay. All right.
So I get the Syracuse Express. Again, I'm from Fulton, small town. Go to this city. These dudes, we talked earlier today about trash talking. These dudes were the best. So we were number 5 in the nation. I don't remember what our record was, but we were undefeated. Maybe 7-0, 8-0, something like that. We're playing at Griffin Field, good old Griffin Field across from Hyde.
Oh, I love Griffin
the
Field.
Dungeon. That's the last game I played Corcoran at. That was their home field my senior year.
Yeah.
That was my last game I played on. So I ended up going back there. So anyway, long story short, it's a night game. We're playing the number 1 team in the country. We're number 5. They come to our home and they're talking smack. Well, we beat them. Yes, it was in our home. We had home field advantage. We beat them. So during the handshake, we had this dude from Hawaii on our team. Ruben Hanu was his name. Dude's about 5 feet tall, but he was an animal. Animal. Hanu was an animal. Love that dude. He was a rookie same year I was. So he comes in and we're taking handshakes. Well, he was whooping some dude's ass all game. Okay. So what had happened?
And he's telling him about it.
Yeah. And he was telling him about it. So what had happened also earlier in the game is Mike Cooper, our safety, phenomenal athlete. Only guy I've ever seen in person return a punt for a touchdown, return a kickoff for a touchdown, and return an interception for a touchdown in the same game.
Yeah.
Okay. This dude, and then he would smoke a cigarette at halftime. This dude was a freak. So between Coop was stoking the fire, apparently to the coach's side. Ruben was a rookie doing this thing, torturing a dude on the line. The guy got pissed off. We're shaking hands, and this dude punches Ruben. All hell breaks loose. Now it's dark out. The lights are on, right? So this melee assumes, and I mean a melee. I happen to be by Mark Warner. Again, I talked about him in episode 1. The dude's like 6'4", 6'5", 350 pounds, just a big dude. He's handshaking without his helmet on. So all hell's breaking loose. All of a sudden, in slow motion, I shit you not, it's like slow motion. I see incoming. Some dude threw a helmet, and it hit Mark right in the head. Down like a tree, hit by lightning. Boom, he goes down. We got hammers involved. There's dudes from Berkshire grabbing hammers out of the toolbox, slamming. I watched a coach saying, break it up, and some dude over the top, boom, breaks the coach's nose right in my face. Dude, I'm 19 years old. I got my helmet on. I'm in the middle of this melee just trying to push dudes apart. All hell breaks loose. This is going on. State troopers are called. The cops are already there, right? Rule is you have to have a couple cops there anyway. State troopers show up. They can't stop it. All hell's breaking loose. It's 50 on 50, right? What do? Griffin Field?
Shut the lights off.
Shut off the lights. What?
Shut the lights off.
What? All hell's breaking loose. And they shut the lights off. Shut the lights off. Yep. The melee kept going. So I remember reading the press article the next day. Yes, we were in the paper. And if I remember correctly, we also made ESPN because the Syracuse Chiefs, the minor league baseball team, also got in a fight that week. So they made a joke out of it. Okay.
That's
basically
funny.
Said, stay out of Syracuse. So long story short, I'm a rookie. I'm not going to lie to you. I was shitting myself. I'm next to the biggest man on the field, and he goes down like a tree struck by lightning. They turn the lights off. Cops everywhere. There's mace. There's hammers. There's broken noses. There's bodies laying down. There's women and children screaming and crying, and I'm not exaggerating. There is no hyperbole in there whatsoever. I believe it. It was mayhem. That was my rookie year. Why I came back? I don't know. And I think what stoked it was when we went to Berkshire earlier in the year, or maybe it was the next. It was the next year. So that's not. But anyway, the field was like there were like apartments behind it, dude. And we were like in a tunnel, and there were apartments all around us, dude. It was freaky. It was freaky. We were like completely surrounded in a city. I've never been on a field before that was in the city.
Okay.
It was crazy. But anyway, that was my story. Now, beat that one.
So, I mean, there's a couple I could probably pull out, but I'm just going to pull out rookie year story. So rookie year, obviously, and I don't think you came from college going into playing for the Express, but I came out of college. I only went to college for a year, came out of college, and all right, let's go. We're going to play for the Express. All right. I don't know how this organization operates. I just know it exists, right? So we're playing, I think our second game, we're in Batavia. And I don't think, but this was the only year I think Batavia actually had a team. And Batavia's team was a bunch of the guards from the prison.
Oh boy.
Right?
Yep.
So, and they were just, they took one of our quarterbacks and they put him like, I don't know if there was one, you might see in an NFL game or something where the guy gets driven into the goalpost or like longest yard, right? Like longest, like
right.
legit, like longest yard.
Right.
They drive one of our guys on the goalpost. Our other quarterback, Ed Watkins, breaks his arm over the top of somebody's helmet. So he's out of the game. So it's like third quarter. We're going at it all game long. Like in here, I was in the best shape of my life playing two sides of the ball, everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? This dude just grabs my face mask and just starts swinging out of nowhere. And I'm like, now here I am, dude. I'm a 19-year-old kid. You've never played like this before in your life.
Never.
You know what I mean? Like,
Never.
It's controlled aggression, but it's aggression within the confines of the game, right?
Right.
Just grab, bang. And I don't throw a punch back, right? Pulls my helmet up off my head. And so they walk me, they take me to the sideline. I get tossed out of the game. And I'm like, why are you throwing me out of the game? I didn't even throw a punch. And they're like, nope, you got in a fight. I'm like, this is the most, I was pissed. Because I'm like, I didn't even throw a punch. And at that point, we didn't have that many linemen, like you said,
Right.
They were all playing for the Storm, the majority of them, so we didn't have that many guys. So it was, that was my rookie year. I learned a very good lesson at that point in time. Like if somebody goes, you better go because you're going to get tossed.
Either way. Yeah, that's the one thing. Semi-pro. Listen, I don't think I'd ever want to be a referee in semi-pro level for many reasons. Number one is I was an asshole as a coach to referees, man.
You were.
I got 4 or 5 sideline penalties in my career, so it was, I would never want to be a referee. So they don't have the benefit of instant replay. They don't have the benefit of the extra dude in the booth. There's only 6 of them usually, if all 6 show up.
And we had some pretty decent referee, we had.
I think Dykes was one of the better ones. There's some good.
Eric, I think he's still reffing. I know he was doing college and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's some good refs out there.
And we had 2 groups of guys that we always knew you could bullshit with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They bullshit with you. They talk, especially when we were winning. When we were winning, it was a different ball game. Like,
right.
when we were losing, ass kick.
Some of them are. Let's be honest. Some of them are just dicks. Because they're used to idiots like me abusing them most of the time. So then when you try to be nice to them, they're like, "Shut up, dude. I'm not listening to you." And I've had them just walk away. I'm like, "Dude, can't walk away. I'm the head coach. I'm asking you a legit question. I don't have to listen to you, coach. I'm leaving."
Shut up! I'm throwing out of the game.
That's right. So, all right, man. So listen, if you've been around semi-pro long enough, we want to hear some of your rookie stories, man. We want to. Can you beat a 45-minute melee in the dark against the number 1 team in the country?
Happen. I want to say that happened with 2 teams later in my career. One with Mohawk Valley, where I just walked to the locker room like, I'm not fighting the hell with this shit. I'm out of here. Yeah. And then another one we had happen with the Rochester Renegades, and that was the one where we had the troopers, the sheriffs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And everything.
And what sucked about that Syracuse team, dude, is we had a lot of D1 players on that team.
Yeah.
And we were good. We were really good. And I couldn't believe I was starting tight end. I'm like, oh man, I don't belong here. These dudes are good. And we had a great coach, man. He quit.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want that chaos around his
neck.
And we ended up falling apart after that. We were a legit shot of a national championship, and we blew it with that fight, And it wasn't even we blew it. Berkshire blew it for us. And what ended up happening, which I didn't finish story, was we got banned in '94. So that's how I actually ended up in Watertown. Marty Clanton and Derek Williams first took me to Rochester. We practiced with the Warriors for a little bit. Didn't really like it. It was way over in like Greece. So it was on the other side, man. So it was a jaunt, right? So we ended up going to Watertown, which was still an hour from my house, but an hour is better than an hour and a half.
Right.
And we just fit in, and that's how I ended up getting acquainted with Watertown, and then ultimately ended up back there because I enjoyed playing there. But so anyone listening to this, we want to hear some rookie stories earlier, folks. If you are a part of a semi-pro organization, whether it is you are the coach, you're the owner, you're the commissioner of a league, you're a player, obviously, you're a cheerleader, you're a water boy, you're whatever you can to be part of semi-pro. We'd love to hear your stories. We'd love to invite you on our show. You can reach out to us now. We also have a Semi-Pro Gridiron Rant at gmail.com. You can message us below and someone will get back to you there. You can listen to our podcast while you're in the car as well. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're also on Spotify, and there's more to come. We're just waiting to get authorized. So those will be coming up too. And again, it's Semi-Pro Gridiron Rant for those as well. And then we also have a website where you can also link to our podcast, semiprogridironrant.buzzsprout.com. So plenty of ways to find us. Please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We look forward to having our next episode 5 with you, and we'll see y'all soon.